This is the first tutorial on the chapter strings. It's not actually a chapter, it's just a topic, and it's quite an important topic as well as part of your syllabus. It comes a lot in section B as well as section A. In section B, you have one question for sure. The second one might just come. So it's all about manipulating strings. Manipulating as in changing things, playing around with strings. But I hope you all know strings are just they're always put in double apostrophes, and a string is basically a word or a sentence, anything that contains characters. For example, A B C, that's a string. If you have A B C space D E, that's also a string. If you have a string like this, that's valid as well. You can also have a blank string. That blank space over here counts as a character. You can have even special characters like, say, the asterisk and then a space and then an underscore, something like that. That also counts as a string. So you can see in all of these examples, the string is made up of characters, whether it's an alphabet, a number, a white space, or a special character like these two over here. That all depends on the string that you're taking, but there's a way to go into the string and change these things in the string. For example, if you want to delete the A over here and make it just B C D E, Java allows you to do that, but you need to follow the syntax and all the functions, the appropriate functions that you need. Same if you want to make this from 12, if you want to make this 22, there's a way to do it through strings, the functions related to strings. There are also functions to convert these numbers in strings to just numbers. So instead of having 22 like this in as a string, there's a function that allows you to just convert it into an integer. What that means is that if you have if you have this over here and you want to do 22 plus 5, you can't say 22 plus 5. That won't get you a 27. In fact, I think that's going to get you a 225. If you want a 27, you're going to have to convert it to an integer. Once you convert it to an integer, then you do 22 plus 5. Then you're going to get the 27. So to do all this, Java has inbuilt functions, and you're going to have to learn all of those to do all these conversions and all these manipulations. And they're very helpful as well. Up till now, you would have seen that many of your programs are just nonsensical. They don't get you anywhere. They're not useful at all. There are only a few which you can actually use. So when you talk about strings, you can use these in many places, especially when you have a lot of data with you. You can use strings to manipulate all that, so as to how you want it to be. So firstly, string, as I said, made up of characters. Not only are there string functions, but there are also character functions. By one character, we mean we're just taking one unit. If you're taking this string here, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters, not 5 because there's a white space in between as well. So it has 6 characters. When we talk about character functions, we're just taking one of them into account. We're not taking A, B, C, D, E. We're taking just either A or B or so on till E. Same thing for all these strings here. If we take the character out of these, it will be, you can have a character like this. And remember, character is just by single quotes like this. You could even have a white space as your character. You could have any of these characters over here, but the only condition is that there can be only one. It's only one unit. You can't have this as a character. You can't have 12 as a character. That'd be a string. So only one character is allowed. So character functions, there are not many. There are simple ones like is letter. That's to check whether a character is a letter or not. So if you have this string here B C D E, if you take the B, then it will return a true over here because B is a letter. If you take the white space over here in between, you will get a false because the space is not a letter. Same thing goes for is digit. Exact same thing. This checks for you whether the character that you're giving it, is it a number or is it something else. So if we take this string 12 here, then both of the characters in it, that's 1 and 2, will return true. If you take this BCDE string here, everything will return false because you can see whichever character you take out of it, you're not going to get a digit. There's no digit there. Then you have a function which is a combination, is letter or digit. So you can make out from the name that it checks whether the thing that you've input is a letter or a digit. It won't tell you whether it's a letter or digit. It'll tell you if you say you input a 2 from over here, it'll return true. It won't return that it's a digit, it'll just return true. If you input a B, it'll again return true. If you input, say, a blank space or an underscore, it's going to return false. All this does is tells you whether what you've input is either a letter or a digit. If it's neither of them, then it'll return false. So in a way, this is just checking for special characters. Special characters are just those characters except the alphabets and the numbers. So this string here that we put over here, it consists of all special characters. A white space is actually a separate, it's not counted under special characters. There's another function to find white space, and that is white space. It's a small s. 454. Okay, so is white space checks whether your the thing that you input is white space or not. That's quite simple. You have two more functions, actually three more, four more. There's is uppercase, is lowercase, is uppercase, and is lowercase. Again, you can make out by the name that these two will just check whether what you input is in the uppercase or whether it's in the lowercase. So it'll output a true or a false. If you input a special character like this, then I think it's going to throw an exception. You have to input a letter, though I'm not sure. We'll check that in a minute. Then you just have two more functions over here, which are pretty easy. If you look at all these functions written here, they all start with is. That means the program just checks, is it a letter, is it a digit, is it a white space, is it upper, is it lower. Now you have two functions which begin with 2. So that I'm going to write in the corner, sorry I don't have space. There's 2 lowercase and there's 2 uppercase. Again, you can predict what they're going to do. They're just going to convert your letter into the uppercase or into the lowercase if it's already not in them. If I input an A, a small a, it'll output, if I go to the 2 lowercase function, it'll again output the same thing. It'll give me an A. If I input it in 2 uppercase, it's going to output a capital A. So that's all the character functions. I'm running out of time over here. So in next tutorial, I'm going to do string functions. Most of them are similar to this, but there are a few new ones. So I'll be doing that, including I'll also be showing you this program over here which demonstrates all the character functions. So that's in the next tutorial.